Challenge. You think high-end air defenses can't be gamed by cheap drones? Prove it. Watch the telemetry. A fatigued lieutenant fires a 57E6 at a decoy, and Ukrainian AI turns that warning into an opening. We'll show the exact jamming window, the ALE-50 deployment that drags an S-400 seeker off course, and the underbridge LiDAR navigation that keeps the drones alive long enough to synchronize 11 charges into a pressure chamber strike. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. You're staring at 5 miles of trucks stacked nose to tail, and nobody pulls the trigger. The bridge is the whole game. It funnels metal, fuel and orders into one narrow span, and the convoy trusts its shell. Pantsir S-1S guarding low altitude, Nebo-M sweeping the sky. That shield breeds calm. Engines idle. Radios hum. The bridge staff keeps the line moving with rote hand signals, but that shell only works against threats it expects, and it expects them above, not below. Here's the paradox that stops a premature strike. Active jammers and overlapping air defense screens shred cheap drones when they rush a defended target. Throw them early and you feed a radar picture. You cue a response and you lose the one place that matters, the undersides and joints that hold the span. So the choice isn't attack or not. It's attack where the defenses are blind or don't attack at all. That means waiting while the convoy thinks it's safe and the drones are already there. Kajak Reboth FPVs sit low over the waterline using LiDAR to read the lattice of steel like a street map. They don't need GPS. They hug girder angles, count rivet rows, and bank on preloaded routes the human operators never have to touch. Encrypted wake signals sleep in their memory, a kill switch that won't go live until the network sees the exact pattern it wants. Ukraine's team walked the electronic order of battle days earlier. They tracked the rhythm of radar sweeps, the seconds between handoffs, and the posture changes when a crew rotates. Nebo-M runs a sky-first scan, then tightens sectors when it sees a return. Pantsir crews keep their own radio discipline, short bursts, clipped calls. Across hours, those habits draw a calendar of gaps. When one sensor pauses, another looks away by design. Those seams are tiny, but they repeat. Human factors make them bigger. Convoy drivers run long shifts. They overheat tires, ride brakes on approaches, and compress into the span when a single truck hesitates. A bridge control point meant for steady flow buckles under mismatched timing. You get a stack of fuelers behind ammo, a commander yelling to clear the lane, and vehicles inching forward because no one wants to stall on steel. That's the window, minutes at best, and under a bridge, blast behaves differently. The deck traps pressure, water reflects shock. A shaped charge tucked against a girder turns the span into a chamber where the wave can't dissipate. A deck hit vents to open air. A belly hit multiplies. The structure designed for vertical load faces a lateral punch that rips through joints and shears rebar. That's why the drones wait for underbridge placement rather than spectacle on the roadway. The trigger logic is cold and simple. Don't move until the pattern matches. Fuel and ammo trucks halfway across, command vehicles close enough to eat jamming spillover, and a known blind gap in the sensors cycling on time. When those three align, wake the swarm. The first charges don't go for vehicles, they go for nodes, the braces that carry load. Secondary detonations from liquids and munitions do the rest, so the convoy holds, confident in its radars and procedures, while a $600 fleet is counting welds and sinking clocks beneath its feet. Waiting buys 3 outcomes at once: collapse of critical supports, a chain of fires to paralyze movement, and a response timeline so short that every correction arrives too late. It only takes one human touch to open the gate. A lieutenant fights fatigue, flips to active search, and fires at a ghost. One shot at a phantom kicks the door open, the lieutenant goes active, the dish lights up, and a 57E6 leaps off the rail toward a pre-lit ghost. The blast wipes nothing off the map except confidence and triggers a wall of alarms from bridge control to the tail end of the column. Radios spike, engines stall on the grade. The network that felt calm a minute ago starts shouting. Active search has a cost. The emission paints the exact spot of the launcher and cues higher tier eyes to take a look. That ripple forces doctrine online fast. Countermeasures up, frequency plans change, and every crew chief wants permission to fire. For the drones, that noise is a timer. They toss their first target lists, drop under the deck line, and split into 3 cells designed to live through the next 30 seconds. No hero runs, just survival math. Each cell takes a role. The lead pair goes water skimming to cut radar return and bleed infrared contrast into the river's cool surface. Another group hugs the truss and flies the beam, crossing the radar's line of sight at near 0 radial speed, so the filter treats them like structure. The last pair carries the tools that buy time. They push short, surgical jamming spikes, tight bursts that smear the Pantsir's picture without burning the emitters hot enough to invite easy triangulation. The goal is not a blackout, it's a flicker that forces doubt. The lieutenant's scope floods, then blanks, then blooms again. That hesitation is the window for Protocol Omega-7. A hatch pops on a drone tucked under a gusset plate, and a fiber line races out. At the end is an ALE 50-tow decoy, not a flare but an active echo. It samples the incoming radar energy and shouts back an oversized version of the same song, brighter and cleaner than the drone could ever appear. The lure drifts off axis wide enough to make a seeker think it found the better target. Why does it work on big systems? Semi-active and active seekers measure angle error, the nudge between where they look and where the energy peaks. When you hand them a signal with more gain, their logic rewards the brighter return. Add gain on jam behavior, where a missile tries to home on the source of interference, and you can push that behavior even further. The trick is timing. You light the lure when the seeker transitions from mid-course updates to terminal homing, when it trusts its own head most. The long-range battery takes the bait laid by the active emission, launch warning rides the net, operators stare up, the ALE-50 drags the seeker cone wide, and the expensive stick commits to a signature that looks hotter and cleaner than any drone on the river. It chases the decoy into open sky and spends itself over water with a clean flash and zero effect on the bridge. The cost curve flips in a single detonation. On the deck, that flash draws eyes and antennas high. In the girders, the 11 survivors resync clocks. The jammers chill to avoid burn-through. The water-skimmers ease back to the belly of the span and slot into pre-assigned nodes, each charge aligning with a member or bearing that carries more than its share of load. The AI doesn't chase vehicles. It picks structure that collapses when pressure can't vent. The span hums with engines and argument, but the sensors that matter arrive a few seconds late. With seekers blinded and emitters cooling, the geometry finally lines up. Charges brace against steel, and the river becomes the amplifier. One tired decision lit the map, and adaptive guidance turned that glow into leverage. Mass and money stacked on a bridge became a weakness, and minutes later, a span and a supply line dropped out of the fight. That's the lesson. Don't price the threat, read the logic, study timing, handoffs, and how sensors think, because habits can be weaponized faster than budgets can adjust.